If you learn today that you actually are capable of creating what you really want and maybe already have, and in addition to that, how to work with divine support, angels, guardians, teachers, mentors, and the divine forces, as well as attract that support in the physical plane, would you be interested? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. My name is Sonia Choquette. Welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, I'm so grateful you've shown up. I believe your intuition guided you here. Your spirit brought you here. I hope you enjoy it. And for those of you who are coming back, welcome back. I'm so excited to see you again. We've been working for quite a while now on how to raise our consciousness, change our vibration, leave the third dimension of struggle and trauma and powerlessness, and move into a higher, expanded state of consciousness, the fifth dimension, where we are out of our own way. And that's really what we're going to talk about today, is how to get out of our own way and get on with using our power and our consciousness, our beliefs, our creativity, our choices to manifest experiences that we really want. So the first thing I want to talk about is you're not going to learn to manifest more effectively unless you begin by acknowledging that you've already done it. You're not completely failed across the board if you're living a frustrated life. There are things in your life you have succeeded in creating. So the very first thing about manifesting is to recognize I am a manifestor. I have the power to create, and I have. My teacher taught me, look around. What you see in your life is your creation, although probably not intentional. Not all of it's bad. Start by looking at what is good, because first it empowers you. It acknowledges that you have the ability to attract into your life what you want. It's hard evidence, and plus it raises your vibration because you begin to feel gratitude. And we're not going to create anything from a negative frequency. Negative frequency is a repellent frequency. If we focus on what we don't have, we are going to continue creating more of that void. So let's start by acknowledging what is right with this picture instead of what is wrong. So can you name 3 things in your life, if not in the present, in the totality of your life, that were good creations, things you absolutely loved? For example, can you name one relationship, a friend, a partner, a child, a grandchild, a neighbor, that even a relationship with a boss, a teacher, a mentor, someone that was really beautiful, that is really beautiful. It doesn't have to be a bunch of relationships, and it doesn't have to be romantic, because those are the most intense and difficult. But is there some mirroring of some relationship that you like? And if so, that's one thing to write down. How about, have you created good health or reasonably good health? Because a lot of people haven't. So are you in a body that works for you? For example, I talked to a fellow, and he was just so much in pain because he was a fairly young guy in his 40s, and he has had chronic back pain. He has been to doctors. He has been to specialists. He's tried everything from woo-woo and wagadoo to going the extreme, let's do surgery. And he just can't find any relief. None. And coming to me, he was just beyond consolable. And he said, what is it? I'm reading the books. I'm trying to do whatever I was supposed to. I'm taking responsibility. I'm just mad. I said, okay, I hear you. And I've had sciatica myself for many years, off and on, quite a few years ago. So I said, let's start by looking at what is working for you. And he said, okay, it's a bit hard, but I love my work. He's a musician. So he said, I have the gift of having work that is really, people would love to have. And I have it. I have beautiful work week after week, performing, singing, creating joyful experiences. And I said, how's your back pain during those moments? He said, I forget about it. I forget about it. I am aware of that. And I said, well, how do you feel? And he said, I feel so in the moment, so out of my head and in the moment of doing what I love that I only feel happy. So I said, okay, instead of focusing on your back getting better, let's focus on that you've created the ability to, in your beautiful work, be really happy in the moment for quite a few hours a week. That is something I want you to focus on because that's real. He said it is real. And I said, and just focus on that as one of the things that you've created that's really quite fantastic. Let's start there. So that is where he's starting. He's saying, it's interesting. The more I focus on where I'm not aware of my back pain, and I keep pretending and keep focusing that it's going to be a little bit longer each day, that I'm not aware because I'm so into what is bringing me joy, that I've actually cut down my back pain to maybe only 30% of the day instead of 24 hours a day. It's a start. So if you can't find anything, then you don't want to, because there's always something that you can find in your life that's good, even in the bad, even in the challenges. If you want to be a creator, you have to start by looking for the evidence that I am a creator and I just need to learn to do it better and be a little bit more consistent. So if it's in your health, maybe you can find something. What about where you live? Do you like where you live? Whether it belongs to you or not, whether you're renting or whether you're owning, do you like anything about it? Do you have a nice view, for example? I have a very teeny tiny little apartment in London. When I come to visit my daughter, to call it an apartment is an exaggeration. It's basically our room, but it looks out onto a beautiful, fantastic garden. Every time I walk here, I just think I'm so fortunate to have manifested this. It's a miracle. Einstein said there's two ways to live as though nothing's a miracle, which is the third dimension ego outlook. Everything's wrong. Nothing's a miracle. Who's that? These are the people who leave me nasty comments and tell me I'm ridiculous. For you, nothing is a miracle, so I'm not going to argue with you because that's what you're creating. But for those who want to really get power, start looking for what is a miracle in your life, what is working, what is beautiful, and capture that energy because that is the magic wand for more. After you start focusing on the things you've manifested already that have brought you joy. This reminds me of one of my clients is a coach for his son's baseball team, his young son's baseball team. It's a long list of things he wants to manifest and is frustrated that he's not, but he becomes a different person on a different vibration when he talks about how he led his son's baseball team undefeated through an entire season. His little 8-year-old son, he has a different vibration. He has a different joy. But I said at any moment in that goal were you focused on failure or resentment or irritation, or did you ever on any level distract yourself from you were just having fun with your son and his team and just wanted the joy of the experience? He said, no. Of course, we're winners, we're competitive, but we were having fun. So that's another key. So first, name 3 things that you really love and have created. That's like, okay, take ownership. You are a creator. Secondly, what did you love about those experiences? What did you love about creating those experiences? And don't complain about the effort. Focus on that's the ego going, want. Talk about the intention. Talk about the commitment. Those are part of the divine laws. I wrote a book about it called Creating Your Heart's Desire. Actually, it's not what I call it. It's called Your Heart's Desire, Creating the Life You Really Want. These are the 9 laws of manifestation, one leading naturally to the other. And you need all 9, like a dance. First is, what do you want? And the second is, you got to believe it, which is why I'm pointing out, look at the things you've already created, because if you don't believe you can create, you won't. But if you start recognizing, well, I did create this already, I put this in my life. It was my effort. I'm the one that created this job, this car, this outfit, whatever. Then you begin to own your creation. Then the next thing is to get into the feeling of it. What was the feeling? Because feeling is the magic sauce, if you will, of creating. You have to feel joyful. You have to feel so devoted, so committed that you don't have space for another feeling. You're just into the fun and the feeling of this. I remember when I created wanting to come to France as a young student. And when I tried to figure it out, and that was a complete disaster. But then I just so wanted to come. And the truth is, I enjoyed the feeling of getting ready. I enjoyed the feeling of being able to move to France and live there. And this was something nobody in my life really got. They thought I was nuts, and it was way too out there for most people and ambitious and not interesting, and I got laughed at. But I spent a lot of inner emotional time being really happy about that intention and that desire. It didn't frustrate me. It elevated me. So, and I ended up getting here. I ended up actually getting a full tuition scholarship to go to the university in Paris, and that wasn't even part of my goal. My goal was just to get there. The universe was much more generous. So the next thing is you have to create good feelings. Whatever you want underneath it, you want a feeling. Anything we create, anything we aspire to, anything we choose, actually, we do believe will bring us happiness. We are convinced it will bring us happiness. But here's the key. Where you get the trouble is you feel like, I'm not happy now, and if I get that, I'll be happy. And that trips you up. Where to create successfully is, I'm happy about my life in some way now, and I want more happiness. So you're not working from a deficit. You're working from a surplus. I'm already happy. I want more of this. I want more of this good vibe, this good energy. So start with what makes you feel good. Even about any creation you want, what would make you feel good about that? If you had more money, what would you do with it, for example? Think of the fun things you could do. Imagine, that's the third principle. Imagine what you could do, or what, if you trying to create a relationship, say you want someone to spend time with or play with, instead of thinking about that person, think about, what would I do if I had a companion? It's so funny. I tried to create at one point in my life the perfect companion. And I had all the qualities. I wanted him to dance. I wanted him to be spiritual like me. And I wanted him to be worldly because I felt myself worldly. It was in my 20s. I wanted him to speak French. That was part of my fantasy of speaking another language and just having more than a dull, ordinary life. And would you believe it? I created that. I met someone. His name was Henry. That wasn't such a great name in my estimation. Sorry, Amy Henry's listening. So I gave it a spin. I called him Henri, which really was amusing, and I felt so good. But the problem with my first round of creation is he did show up. He could dance. Was very spiritual. But the problem is, first he danced with me, and he danced with someone else, and then he danced with him, and then they danced off. And I was like, oh my God, I created someone who's gay. He didn't even want to hang around with me. So back to the drawing board. So I forgot something. At first I was devastated, and then I went and talked to my teacher about it. He said, well, what are you missing? If you're manifesting, that's a near miss, and I hear that a lot from people. I thought this was so close, this was so looked, and then I got tricked. It's like, no, you didn't get tricked. You forgot something. And this is important, is that you want to really realize whatever you want to create, whatever in your heart is like a magnet, and that whatever you're magnetizing, you want to imagine is looking for you. Not just you chasing after it, or whatever goal or person or end result. You want to see it as a magnet. I'm magnetizing something. We're coming together. And after that, I definitely manifested a far more successful match. Didn't take long either. So we have to have those disappointments to study the laws of creativity, because our purpose in life is to create. What am I doing right or wrong? And then once you're on board, once you know once you recognize I am a creator, I just got to get better at this. I have to have the feeling and the joy and the appreciation for life and be in that higher vibration. And I have to really call in what's looking for me so I'm not chasing after something. Then the next thing is principle number 5, which is tell the universe what you want and the universe will help you. But you got to do these things first. You have to know what you want. You have to recognize and believe that you are the creator that you are. Imagine with a high feeling vibration. Eliminate your obstacles. In other words, don't say you want to be healthy and then be a couch potato all day. You have to choose some things to match your intention. And here's the deal. If it's a true vibration, you naturally will. You naturally will show up. But once you show up, the great and wonderful experiences, then the universe starts kicking in with synchronicities, and your angels and guides can help you, and your higher self will support you because you've already demonstrated the absolute commitment, free will, and full availability to create that experience. You show no resistance. When you can create no resistance, the biggest resistance is your own head, arguing and being frustrated and feeling tricked and impatient. You know, I was watching the other day some quick shorts on Instagram, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who this was, but there's this guy who broke a running record in the world. He broke in 4 seconds. He was did this sprint and was the world's leading runner. And he said, I spent 4 years to break this world record that I did in 4 seconds. I love that guy because he knew what it meant to stick to something. You know, our egos are very immature and impatient when they say, well, I've been doing this for a week. Why didn't it work? Because you didn't do it long enough or hold the vibration and deep enough and the commitment wasn't there. And you're not serious. If it's a real desire, it's a love affair. It comes with devotion. So that's what I want to invite you to focus on. If you have devotion to an outcome, if you have devotion to some experience, if you can be devoted, believe it, recognize it, celebrate it, prepare for it, and recognize it's coming to you with the same magnetic energy that you stay focused on it, I assure you, you will create. If you don't believe me, reflect on the things you have created and the pure, unadulterated, undistracted devotion you demonstrated in manifesting those past things. So I'll be working on this for a little while. That is how your guides show up, because the truth is they can't help you until you're really serious. I have this joke in my mind that my spirit guides often share with me. It's like a bunch of spirit guides and angels are all sitting around with, the hotline, and they're asking each other, they're your helpers. Did you get any calls? No, I didn't get any calls. Did you get any calls? No, just a few hang-ups. Did you get any calls? Because the universe is ready to help you. But you have to do your part. You're dialing in by saying, this is what I want, but you can't. And a lot of people believe that asking for divine help is basically telling the universe, telling your guides, telling whatever to bring it to me like you're calling in a pizza. And by the way, even the pizza you call in, you have to dial in, you have to pay for. So there is no such thing as, your guides are going to do it for you. They're going to help you achieve that miracle for yourself. So, I appreciate your comments. So what I want you to do is this week, we're going to work together. First, write the 3 things down that you have created, that you showed a devotion to, that you did succeed, so you can reclaim your power as a creator. And then I want you to talk about, have you felt with that commitment no resistance to the things you want next? head not getting in the way, or you trying not to figure it out, but just really creating the magnetic space to receive. That's what really brings about the kind of miracles that we can manifest, is no interference, just availability. I appreciate that sometimes also I get snarky comments too. People have to come in and very condescendingly say, oh, you just talk to menopausal women, or I'm sick of this. I don't want to hear about this anymore. And I appreciate it. Nobody has to stick around and listen to this, but the laws of the universe are the laws of the universe, and they don't bend for you or anyone, for me or anyone. Once we learn to use these laws, what demonstrates that we are learning is that ego commentary, that snarky, I'm kind of put you down, put others down, kind of, yeah, this is stupid. It stops. Can you imagine having a life where you're really, truly just tuned into the ways in which life can work for you? Like I said in there before, or I think I said, not everybody on this planet is miserable. There's a whole lot of people that are really having wonderful divine experiences. And guess what? In some areas of your life, you are part of that. You are in some, even if it's moments, where maybe you're with a good friend, or I know today I spent an hour with my granddaughter who's 3, having the most joyful, miraculous vibe. And when you're in those good moments, that's the time to say to the universe, thank you for bringing me the things that bring me joy. Thank you for attracting and bringing me the things I'm devoted to having. I'm devoted to receiving. I'm devoted to showing up to. I'm devoted to committing to. But thank you for being the magnet. Thank you, angels. Thank you, guides. Thank you, higher self. Thank you, earth angels. Thank you, everybody. It's on its way. And in the meantime, I am actually going to stay in a state of relaxed, positive availability. Now, this is what real manifestation asks of you, to get into that emotional tone of expectation where you're not doubting every minute. You're intentional. My client absolutely started working on his back, and he's getting better. He's seeing how he said, what I am realizing is how controlling I've been and how frustrated I get when I feel like I can't count on other people. And he said, that's when my back flares. That's when I feel like, get off my back. And he said, believe it or not, I think they're connected. I start feeling better when I'm less controlling. My back is seizing up less. My joy is amplified. Maybe I can turn this around. I know that my client who took his 8-year-old son to a baseball championship, I said, when you have the joy and the devotion to other things in your life, and the real intent to have a positive experience with other things you want to create, you will create them. That's how it works. So I share this in my book, Your Heart's Desire, Creating a Life You Really Want. It really breaks it down. It's the way my master teachers taught me. These are not my laws. These are the universal laws of manifestation in the Western mystery schools, and they work. If you want to work with your guides a little more, if this is new to you, there's 2 ways to do it. You can use my Oracle deck, Ask Your Guides. That's like a speed dial in your guides. It's so wonderful to get feedback and mirroring and recognize we're with you. You didn't hang up on us. We want to help. Just give us a shot. And if you want a little bit more understanding, you can have a whole book on this called Ask Your Guides. And this tells you how to guides. Now, guides don't do it for you. You don't call in the guides to bring me something while I sit back and be unconscious, irresponsible, and low vibration. But if you do want to co-create, it gets really fun really fast. And if you're just learning to tune into those inner senses, here's my book, Trust Your Vibes. These are the ways in which to be a 5th dimension person. And I'm a teacher. I've been doing this forever. So of course I would write these books. I want these to be tools. So if you need more information or tools, and if you're in a hurry, you really want to get this going, I even wrote the quick version, the 21 days to jumpstart your intuition, which puts your inner senses back online, because to create, we need them all. Ask your guides to help you, but you have to show up with your part of the helping process, not do it for you. If you're new to my channel, thanks for tuning in. I hope you love it. Please give me a thumbs up if you found something useful. Better yet, subscribe. Tell my subscribers, thank you so much. We are becoming quite an influential community, and for all of us who are part of this community, we're part of the good vibes of the planet. So we're doing our part for the greater good as well as our own. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And tell your friends. It's better to create with collaborators and have people in your life that you can do this with. So that's my message for this week. Thanks for tuning in. See you again next week. All my love.